Up next, we have the founder and CEO of AssemblyAI. Please welcome Dylan Fox to the stage.
What's up, everyone? It's great to be here with all of you. A little bit about me. My name's Dylan Fox. I'm the founder of a company called AssemblyAI. If you haven't heard about us before or used our API before, which is probably rare in this room of like voice AI enthusiasts, we're really focused on creating just amazing speech-to-text and speech understanding models and exposing them through a super simple API. I live in New York City. I'm out in San Francisco all the time. When I'm not talking about voice AI and running a startup, I have two small kids. I have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. And so when folks ask me, like, what are my hobbies outside of, we're interviewing people, they're like, what do you do outside of a startup? I'm like, well, I have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old, so I try to sleep when I can, and then work on my startup. It's awesome to see how many people are here at this voice AI meetup and this voice AI event. I think a couple of years ago, the ecosystem, the developer community was so much smaller, and it's just insane to see how much the ecosystem and the community has grown over the last year even. So this is a real thing that happened. I was talking to a developer a couple weeks ago, and they're building a voice AI app for doctors. The doctor almost operated on the wrong leg because the voice AI hallucinated the left leg versus the right leg, and that went up into the chart notes. It's a really bad problem. We don't want this to happen. This is what we think a lot about at our company. Our company really started with this idea of let's create what we aim to be our 100% accurate speech-to-text and speech understanding models that can operate in the real world, be 100% accurate in the real world. And I'll talk more about what this means to us a little bit later in my talk. Because it's amazing if your voice AI is fluent and the experience is great and the voice is great. But if you have a doctor operate on the wrong leg, you're going to be pretty upset. We're really obsessed with this opportunity and with this goal because I really feel like voice is the biggest opportunity space for startups today. I mean, it's insane. I don't know how many of you here are founders, but the opportunity to build a company around voice and a startup around voice is like completely greenfield. And you can build these amazing companies, and there's so much capital pouring into the space, and the ecosystem of infrastructure that helps teams build stuff really quickly is like so mature now. So what you can do today, founders in this room, developers in this room, is so much crazier than even a year ago, 18 months ago. Like the whole entire ecosystem has just gotten so much more mature. And this is demonstrated in the stats that we're seeing in the industry. So the voice AI market expected to grow over 20x over the next decade. These industry stats, it's so hard to like nail these down, but the voice AI market is just exploding right now. End user demand is insane. Something like 20% of YC companies are voice AI startups this year. It's crazy. When we went through YC in 2017, I think we were the only voice company. It was like, 1 of 300 versus now, 1 in 5 are voice AI companies. And then just in the last 20 months, there's been over $3 billion in VC funding that has gone into voice AI applications or infrastructure companies. And all that is just like so much evidence that this space is just exploding with opportunity. And I really think voice is like the best area to build a startup in right now because there's just so much greenfield if you're starting a company, launching a product at an existing company. So how did we get here? How did we get to these numbers where 20% of YC companies are voice AI companies and there's $3 billion in funding going into voice companies? I think it's helpful, and what I think about a lot and talk about a lot with our company is like, let's look back over the last 10 to 15 years. So how many of you remember just raise your hand, like the Siri launch when that came out? I vaguely remember that. It was like really cool consumer broad awareness of what a voice assistant could be like. Wasn't very good, it's still not very good, but got a lot of consumers, like widespread, to be aware of like the potential and how cool a voice interface could be and a voice assistant could be. That was 2010, so 15 years ago, Siri launched. In 2014, 2015, you had these smart speakers come out. I remember getting my first Echo in 2015, and it was like, it felt like a device from the future because it just worked so well. And you could talk to it from across the room, you could have the TV on, you could have music on. I mean, another show of hands, like how many people got an Echo around that time and was just blown away with like how well it worked. It was the first consumer device, I think, that worked well, that was like reliably enough, that was centered around voice. And then I noticed all of a sudden, you could build these habits. You couldn't build a habit around Siri because it didn't work well enough. But you could build a habit around the Echo because it worked reliably. So instead of picking your phone out of your pocket to play a song, you could just use your voice or set a timer. And those might seem like simple tasks, but they changed your habits and how you use devices because you could talk to a computer for the first time ever and it worked really well. So that was like a step change in quality from a voice interface from 2010 to the 2015 time. And all of a sudden, consumers and like the broader technology industry started to realize, wow, this technology is getting a lot better, like really rapidly. From a technology perspective, there was also this shift happening in the underlying stack of like how you'd build a speech model or a voice AI model. And so, there was this shift of like Gaussian mixture models and hidden Markov models to RNNs. I don't know how many of you remember the deep speech paper that came out from Baidu. I think it was like 2015. That was a really popular paper that demonstrated the potential of a end-to-end neural network model for speech recognition. And it wasn't like blowing the conventional systems out of the water, but you could just see, wow, this is like at parity, and there's so much headroom, and these models are going to get so much better, and compute is going to become so much greater for training these models. So you had a ton of innovation happening in the underlying architectures, and that's still happening, right? Now you have these multimodal LLMs that are way more intelligent for these voice AI tasks and these speech tasks. The problem back in 2015, 2016 was, as a developer, you couldn't get access to any of this stuff that was happening. You had to like beg for access, and I remember Nuance at the time, which was like a big speech company, mailed me a CD-ROM with their SDKs. I didn't even have a CD-ROM drive. It was just like, what is happening? And so I started Assembly back in 2017, really like on a stage like this. This is YC Demo Day back in 2017. And everyone was like, oh, voice is a super small market. I think like 100 investors passed on our seed round. Like no one believed that this would eventually happen, right? That like Jordan would start Vapi and then get like 900 people to come to a voice AI conference, and like the industry has just been exploding because of all this innovation. And so we really started the company with this goal of let's really advance the state of this technology and then just make it super easy for developers to innovate with and to build really cool stuff with, because that will be really exciting for the world. And so where are we today if you jump forward? Okay, so 2025, you now have humanoid robots that are starting to come to market that you can talk to with your voice. I don't know how many of you saw the figure demo. It was like so cool. Can't wait to buy one. You have these ambient AI applications, like Granola, who's a customer of ours, that can listen to your meetings in real time and take notes. Fireflies and so many of these types of applications that can help you as a consumer, help you with your work, whether it's sales or healthcare or knowledge work, or even just as a as a consumer. You have voice interfaces. Hopefully the new Siri will live up to the hype. You have Meta glasses that you can use your voice as an interface to. We're actually auctioning a pair off at our booth, so come by later and enter your name into the raffle, and you can maybe go home with one. And then you have voice agents, which is a huge, huge opportunity that like all of you are, so many of you are here probably building. All this stuff works now, and it works reliably enough now to take to market, to get traction, to get $3 billion in funding from investors. It's amazing. And what's changed from 2017 to 2015? Well, you have this entire ecosystem of infrastructure now as a developer at your disposal. You have APIs from companies like Assembly and our peers that are here for speech to text and text to speech. You have LLMs, you have OpenAI, you have vector databases, you have WebRTC, you have all this infrastructure at your fingertips now. And so as like a two-person team, you can access all this amazing infrastructure and build amazing applications that can just like take off overnight because the end user demand is so real. And that's what you see in other areas like coding, right? You see companies like Lovable just like take off overnight, grow so fast, and really small teams able to pull this stuff off because there's this ecosystem of infrastructure available to developers and available to startups now. You have companies like Vapi that are able to help developers orchestrate all this together. So all of this infrastructure now exists for the first time. And you can build these amazing applications that can take off and become really, really big. And it's why I think, and we think at our company, voice is just this like amazing, amazing market opportunity for startup companies and for developers to build in. And it's wide open for startups to win. So what are the bottlenecks today? So when we talk to developers that are building voice apps, what we just hear over and over again is this accuracy problem. This doctor cut off the wrong leg or something, right? Like this accuracy problem. And that's why we're so focused on solving this and making this better, because we think that accuracy, what we hear from developers, is the main bottleneck in these voice AI apps today from getting more widespread, even more widespread adoption. So what does accuracy mean? I think you heard, the talk from OpenAI prior. Accuracy in voice AI to us, what that means is really going from this classical task of speech recognition, which is this like data processing task. It's this kind of dumb task. There's no intelligence in it. You're converting like a spectrogram into text, right? There's some, like weak intelligence in that task, but not much. Going from speech recognition to something that we think of more as speech understanding, which is this intelligent task. It's this AI native task. What does that actually mean? So what that means is being able to do things like emotion detection, right? So is someone being sarcastic? Are they frustrated? Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they excited? If you have an AI talking to someone that's trying to sell them something, you need to know all those emotional cues so that you can regulate, well, do I go for the upsell or no? Because if this person's hesitating, I'll leave it, and then I won't push for the upsell. But if you know that they're excited, then maybe you do. So you need to be able to understand the emotion, and you need to understand how to match that with your application. A lot of voice AI applications still fail in noisy environments. We see a ton of developers building these apps that can record conversations, whether you're a doctor or a salesperson in the field. But these users put their devices in their pocket and then they go about their day, right? And so you have really noisy environments, low audio quality, different people talking really far away from a microphone. It's really hard for voice AI models today to do well with high accuracy in those situations. Error rates can still be like 20%, really high. It's like 1 in 5 words basically wrong. Other areas are like drive-through voice ordering. You're in a car, you're like 15 feet away from a microphone, your AC's on, music's on, kids are screaming, and you say like, Big Mac, right, one word. It's like super hard problem. You need to have intelligence and context and be able to understand more than just the speech recognition task to handle that situation well. There's problems like background speakers. I hear this a lot from developers. You're talking to a voice agent. Voice agent says, hey, okay, what time do you want to come in for your appointment, 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock? And the person turns to their wife in the car and says, I don't know, should we go in at 2 or 3? And go back to the voice agent. And the voice agent gets super confused because they can't tell, like, wait, are they talking to me or are they talking to someone else? And it's not a speaker diarization problem. It's like a voice focus problem. Are they talking to the agent or are they talking to someone else? And you need all of that to operate across multilingual speakers. Turn detection is such a big problem. All of you are more than aware of that in this room. Context awareness. So it's this speech understanding in the real world task that we're super, super focused on and that we think is where the next big unlocks will come from. So the questions of like, well, how do you achieve this? Is it from a more integrated, it's definitely from a more integrated system. Is it a fully speech-to-speech system? Is it integrating more parts of the chained architecture together? There's a lot of research and innovation that has to be done. It's definitely from a more integrated system and less of a bifurcated system. But there's a lot of progress that we and other companies are making in this space. And I think within the next probably like 6 to 9 months, a lot of these tasks will just get so much better. And the current models will get so much better at a lot of these tasks. You also need this technology to operate at global scale because the demand for these voice products, a lot of you are seeing it, is like insane. We last month handled over 5 petabytes of voice data through our developer API in a single month. It's like 10x the entire Spotify catalog or something. And that's up 400% year over year and growing like really quickly. And so it's not enough to just be able to build the models now, like they have to be able to operate at huge scale and service this like insatiable demand from end users because this stuff works pretty well now. I don't know how many of you are experiencing this, but my friends now come up to me and they're like, yeah, I talked to a voice AI on the phone to like, order delivery or schedule an appointment, and it was definitely an AI, and it was like an amazing experience, right? That's starting to happen now because it works well, and success rates are high enough to get traction, and companies are adopting this technology. So it's a super exciting opportunity. We are obsessed with getting there because what our vision was when we started the company and still is to help developers and startups innovate in this voice space and to keep pushing the technology forward and forward, making it super easy to use so that developers and startups, like all of you in the audience today, can just build really cool stuff and take it to market and like continue to push the field forward, which is so awesome. And our team is shipping at like crazy velocity right now, especially on our streaming real-time APIs and models. So just in the last couple of weeks, it's like pretty much every week or two, we're shipping pretty major updates to our streaming real-time models. We're making them better at repeated tokens like credit card numbers and really short utterances, more accurate endpointing that's actually baked into our speech-to-text model, and it gives you that semantic end-of-turn capability, combining the audio and the text to get really accurate endpointing. Key term prompting to give the models context about your environment. And then this week, we rolled out a update that makes our models even faster. And we're launching really amazing multilingual models next week that are super cool when you talk to them and see them. And the way we're building our models is really designed for these real-time voice agent use cases. So this is a video screen of like what the type of output you get from our real-time models. You get super fast feedback that's like subword at the subword level, so that as a developer, you can start to execute business logic as someone's talking. You don't have to wait for the turn to be over. You can start to load up the schedule, figure out what appointment times are available as soon as they say, I want to schedule. And then when the turn's detected, great, okay, I have all this information that I've already queried. So we're really building our models like working super closely with developers in the space and making them perfect fit for these voice agent use cases. And we're shipping at really awesome speed. So definitely, if you haven't checked our stuff out yet, I definitely encourage you to. We have a voice AI coffee cart. You can order coffee with your voice if you haven't done that yet. It's pretty cool. Look for our team that has it on there. They're holding the computer. It's pretty cool. Okay, so the technology innovation is great, but I don't know about you all. Like, one of my least favorite things as a startup founder is negotiating with my cloud vendors. And so we're also designing the technology that we're building to just be like super easy to innovate with, because innovation doesn't happen on a schedule and it doesn't happen consistently. There's stops and starts to innovation. So our real-time API, for example, it has unlimited concurrency. You always have headroom based on what you're using. You don't even have to contact us. It just scales and scales with you. We don't do any commitments with our API, for example. You just use it, the pricing's great, the rate limits are great, and all of that is because we just want to make it really easy for developers to innovate, try ideas, take things to market, and iterate as they need, because it's such a emerging space and such a greenfield space. So this is like a really, I think, core thing about our company that we think about a lot. All right, so we're over here at the entrance, and we'd love to chat with you. I'd love to chat with you. I'll be here all day. Come say hi. We're super excited about where the space is going, how big this will be in a year from now as all of this just continues to mature. We have this voice coffee ordering cart, which is awesome. We're auctioning off a new iPhone, Meta Ray-Ban glasses, I think AirPods too. So enter in those raffles and come say hi. Our team's awesome. And yeah, we'd love to chat with you about what you're building and where you're trying to take your voice AI applications. So it's great to be here with all of you. Thanks so much for having me up here, and talk to you more today. Cool. Thanks.